Let's establish what actually changed. Pi Network's App Studio now supports full source code download and upload. That sounds technical and boring until you understand what it means operationally. Previously, App Studio functioned as a template sandbox. You could drag-drop elements, configure pre-built components, and deploy basic applications. But the moment you needed custom functionality, you hit a ceiling. No escape hatch, no way to take your project into a real development environment. That limitation made App Studio useful for prototypes but inadequate for serious applications. Developers don't build production systems in walled gardens with artificial constraints. They need flexibility, version control, and the ability to integrate external libraries or frameworks. The new update removes that constraint. Creators can now download their entire app codebase, edit it locally using professional development tools, then upload the modified version back into App Studio. This creates a hybrid workflow where non-technical users start with templates while technical developers can graduate to full customization without abandoning the Pi ecosystem. This matters because developer friction is the silent killer of blockchain ecosystems. Ethereum succeeded partly because developers could use familiar tools. Solana gained traction by optimizing developer experience. Chains with terrible developer tooling die regardless of their technical specifications or token economics. Pi's app limit also increased from 10 to 100 per creator. That's a 10 times expansion in experimentation capacity. More experiments means, a higher probability of discovering product market fit. Most apps fail, so ecosystems need volume to produce winners. Restricting creators to 10 apps really just artificially constrained the innovation pipeline. The new management interface adds professional tooling around this expanded capacity. Creators can now update app details, upload preview images, share projects across Pi's Fireside forum, and delete obsolete builds. These are table stakes features for any serious development platform, but, honestly, their absence previously signaled amateur infrastructure. Now let's address the harder question. Will developers actually use this? Blockchain history is littered with unused developer tools. Every failed chain had developer grants, documentation, and SDKs. But honestly, infrastructure alone doesn't guarantee adoption. Developers tend to migrate to platforms with users, liquidity, and, existing success stories. So, Pi Network claims over 100 million downloads. If even just 1% converts to active users, that's a million potential app consumers. That's pretty compelling distribution, if it's real and engaged. The big skepticism, though, centers on whether those downloads actually represent genuine users, or just people clicking install with zero intention of ecosystem participation. For a bit of comparison, Ethereum has roughly 500,000 daily active addresses interacting with smart contracts. Solana peaks around 1 million. If Pi can demonstrate even 100,000 daily active users genuinely transacting within apps, that creates legitimate developer incentive. The App Studio upgrade specifically targets different developer profiles. Non-technical creators get no-code tools and AI assistance, while technical developers get full code control and professional workflows. This dual approach really tries to capture both ends of the spectrum. Casual builders experimenting with ideas, and serious developers shipping production applications. The workflow now supports rapid prototyping inside App Studio, code export for advanced development, then re-upload for Pi ecosystem integration. This, honestly, reduces the traditional blockchain development friction where every step requires specialized knowledge. But there's a fundamental question underneath all this. What applications does Pi Network enable that aren't better served on existing chains? If the answer is nothing unique, then better tooling just makes it easier to build redundant applications nobody needs. Quick pause. If you appreciate analysis that focuses on infrastructure and adoption mechanics instead of price predictions, hit that like button right now. And subscribe to TJ Crypto World if you want consistent breakdowns of what actually matters in crypto beyond the hype cycle. Let's continue. Here's the real test for this upgrade. What gets built in the next 90 days? Developer tools are honestly worthless without developers actually using them. The real proof arrives when we see production applications launch that just couldn't have existed under the previous constraints. We're talking about applications that demonstrate real utility and actually solve problems for Pi Network users. The increased app limit now enables more experimentation, and the code export capability opens the door for serious development. Plus, the management interface allows for professional deployment. But, none of that really matters if creators build nothing, or if they build things nobody uses. Pi Network's ecosystem at this point needs to demonstrate product market fit somewhere. That might be in remittance, micropayments, digital identity, decentralized social features, or even something totally unexpected. But yeah, it needs to happen visibly and measurably. The challenge is that Pi operates in a competitive environment. Developers considering Pi Network are at the same time evaluating Ethereum Layer 2s with established DeFi ecosystems, Solana with its performance advantages, or Base with its Coinbase distribution. Pi's advantage, if it actually has one, is potentially its user base size. The App Studio upgrades also introduced, some quality of life improvements. Creators can now load up to 100 Pi tokens at once instead of just one at a time. That really removes a workflow bottleneck that made testing unnecessarily tedious. UI navigation got better too. Previously disabled features like custom AI chatbot editing are now functional again. These details might seem minor, but they really do compound. Death by 1,000 paper cuts describes most abandoned developer platforms. Small friction points just keep piling up until developers give up and go build somewhere else. Removing those friction points doesn't guarantee success, but honestly, leaving them guarantees failure. Okay, let's zoom out and contextualize what Pi's attempting here. They're building toward a Web3 application ecosystem while simultaneously managing token unlocks, price volatility, whale concentration, and regulatory uncertainty. Most blockchain projects, honestly, fail at just one of these challenges. Pi's juggling all of them. The App Studio upgrade represents progress on the utility dimension, creating infrastructure for applications that could justify token value beyond speculation. But, infrastructure isn't sufficient. Distribution matters, marketing matters, developer relations matter, liquidity provision matters. These pieces really need to synchronize for ecosystem success. The cynical view is that Pi's building infrastructure for an ecosystem that may never achieve meaningful adoption. The optimistic view is that they're systematically addressing prerequisites for success before broader market awareness develops. Reality probably sits somewhere between. They're making genuine technical progress while facing legitimate questions about market fit, user engagement, and competitive positioning. The preview image functionality and Fireside Forum integration suggests Pi's thinking about creator marketing. Developers need to attract users to their applications. Social sharing features and visual previews help applications discover audiences within the Pi community. This creates a potential flywheel. Better tools enable better applications attract users, user activity attracts developers, and developer activity improves tooling. Whether that flywheel actually spins depends on initial activation energy. The first wave of compelling applications that demonstrate possibility. So here's what matters over the next quarter. Watch for these signals. First, developer activity. Are creators actually using the code export feature? Are technical developers entering the ecosystem who previously ignored it? GitHub activity, developer forum engagement, and technical discussion quality will reveal whether these tools resonate. Second, application diversity. Are we seeing novel use cases or just copies of existing DeFi primitives? The more unique the applications, the stronger the signal that Pi's enabling something differentiated. Third, user engagement. Are the applications being built actually getting used? Daily active users, transaction volume, and retention metrics will separate real utility from vaporware. Fourth, ecosystem momentum. Are successful applications attracting copycats and variations? Healthy ecosystems spawn derivatives as developers iterate on proven concepts. These indicators will emerge organically if the infrastructure upgrade connects with genuine developer demand. If 90 days pass with minimal observable change in ecosystem activity, that suggests the tooling improvements weren't the bottleneck, the fundamental value proposition was. Pi Network positioned this update as empowering pioneers to build, innovate, and contribute to long-term utility. That language is aspirational. The next 3 months determine whether it's also predictive. And there's your complete breakdown of Pi Network's App Studio overhaul, Crypto Fam, full source code control, 10 times app limits, professional management interface. These are meaningful infrastructure improvements, if developers show up. The test isn't what got shipped. The test is what gets built with it. Check back in 90 days and we'll measure developer adoption, application diversity, and user engagement. Those metrics separate infrastructure progress from infrastructure theater. If this kind of utility-focused analysis cuts through the noise for you, smash that like button and subscribe to TJ Crypto World. I'm consistently examining what actually drives ecosystem value instead of just reacting to price movements. Before you leave, watch my previous video on blockchain developer adoption patterns. It's the perfect companion to today's analysis and explains why most blockchain developer tools fail despite being technically impressive. Until next time, stay focused on fundamentals, stay skeptical of hype, and remember, in crypto, infrastructure means nothing without adoption. This is TJ, and I'll catch you in the next one.